Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Journal Entry. Is it really journal entry or just me like doing part two of my Lego scandal that rocked the scandal that rocked the Lego community? And this thing, I saw part one. If you haven't seen it, watch Reckless Ben. Blah blah blah. There's a lot. Like you have to go look at the details for yourself. But essentially, this scandal is just the craziest thing. There has to be a Netflix documentary in the future on this. It has to. It literally was trending on Google, I think, and the videos are getting hyped. I think as of right now, I'll check how many views that Reckless Ben is getting. Um, his I got arrested because of Legos, which is he's got to stop saying Legos. It's Lego. That one's up to 1.2 million views. His original one, um, shoot, the original video for Reckless Ben, he's up to 634K subscribers. I think he was in the 400s last I saw. So it's the number 9 hyped video. Um, the pretty much every video he does now is getting over a million views. So the original part one, which is 9 days ago at this point, so just over a week. I mean, this is I'm addicted. I love documentaries, so I'm literally. I feel like if you're non-Lego or Lego, first of all, make sure to subscribe if you're watching this. Um, you know, like it really helps me out, helps out the community. Like let's all band together as a community, and I will be at Brickworld, Chicago here coming up. Let's oops, I hit the wrong button. Okay, so 9 days ago, I can't believe it. And again, I've been really addicted to the story. When part one, I think I saw somebody do the whole post, like that was kind of showcasing the ending with the store and the banner, and I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy." And then I looked it up, and then I saw part one. I'm like, I mean, that documentary or that video was an hour and 25 minutes. That is wild. I mean, to get, and I'm sure most of the views are to all the way to the end. So you're talking that there are 2.2 million times an hour and 25 minutes. So on this earth, he has been watched over 2 million hours, probably, of watch time. 2 million hours of watch time. That is a lot of human. That is so much um, human, like, time wasted. So 2.2 million views. Then there's another million views on his. He had. There's been a couple of back and forths and things happening. Um, Bricks and Minifigs responded to my what was it? Responded. Oh, responded to the video. Um, that was a million views, and then they had gotten a leaked email because this is what happens. You have 300 franchises, which, by the way, like, before I really go on and continue, I feel terrible for them. There a lot of them, most of them, individual owners, and it's really a sad situation for them. They're basically taking, because, like, Bricks and Minifreaks corporate literally doesn't get affected unless the sales of the stores are being affected, right? So, like, but the sales of the store get incrementally higher impact, right? So if their sales go down by, let's say, $1,000 per day, it's only a small percentage that, bam. Now, bam still is going to feel the impact, but it takes a lot more to impact them than it does. They're still going to have their general sales, and those are all going to go, and so they'll see a dip. But, like, And still, like if you think about the math, like the math does not math in this, because if a store, let's say, reduces their output by $1,000, 300 stores, that's $300,000. There's only $70,000 worth of Lego, that they needed to pay out. So I just, well, I guess it's a little bit more than seven. No, it was about, if you were to pay like half, if you were to just, I think generally speaking, he was owed 84,000 would have been exactly to his agreement, right? Because if the Lego are completely gone, and they wanted to just give full value based on that sheet, they said something like 30%. I'm just estimating. It'd be 84,000, because the store itself would have gotten like 30 or 35% or whatever, or like 40%. I forget how much they were. It was like 60-40 or 35, whatever the agreement was, they were going to cut it. So like 80, maybe 100K tops that was owed to him. So if $1,000 in profitability per store in even a month, this would have had double the ROI. The return on investment on just like resolving this, 3 to 4x. It's just that is just a blunder. I mean, you could, so now over this whole incident, you could potentially, again, it's, I hopefully not. Hopefully this resolves, but at the end of the day, they could lose their franchise over this, or this the whole thing could crumble, because if the weaker stores start to go, but even if a couple stores, let's say a weaker store with like 250K in sales, right? And, that's less marketing dollars. That's less per day sales. There's like 260 days that you can sell in a year. Something like that. It's even more for them because they can sell on weekends. They're selling like 7 days a week. It's intense. I don't know, unless they shut their store down on Mondays. I don't know, maybe. So they actually can have sales. They can have shipping days almost every day of the week except for holidays. And even holidays, they could even be open. Actually, they should be open. So these businesses do, all they really need to do is like 5K a day, 5 to 10K a day is probably what they're looking to do. Somewhere in that like range minimum, right? And I think some of the best stores are doing 500K a year. So it's pretty good if you're on like 30-40% margins. It should be pretty healthy profit. You got to pay your employees and pay rent and all of that type of stuff, but that's not bad. So it's probably cash flowing pretty decent. And again, especially if it's a passion, so you're paying a salary, you're enjoying, you're part of the community. These franchises are, and there's a lot of great people. I can't emphasize that enough. Like, don't mess with the franchises. Really great people putting in like hard days work. A lot of kids out, like teenagers working for them, that some of them may or may not like Lego, but most of them do. I would say I've always had really good experiences being in there. Actually, it was really funny. I had kind of an issue with the point of sale thing. They didn't know what they were doing, but it's fine. Whatever. It is a. I do think that bricks and minifigs as a concept and as a member of the is kind of a good part of the community. It is something that I mean, it's cool. It's like a great success story in the community, and I feel like that's part of what's so disappointing is just like the potential and the goodness that could be bricks and minifigs, and now our money, and like to find out, it's kind of like to find out that the thing that you, I don't know if you admire, because there have been some negative press, right, for mini, I think people have been kind of frustrated at some of the practices that bricks and minifigs has done, like with how they buy and sell, isn't always that transparent. And I've talked about that in the last video. I felt like I kind of hit it on pretty good that, hey, I get it. Some people are probably like, they saw the I forget the channel that did the undercover, and basically same thing, just wasn't as crazy as Ben was. Uh, and showcased like how scammy some of their stores were in terms of like being towards resale, right? And that's not great. At the same time, I mean, I should probably rewatch the video. I watched some of it, and if you're presenting your collection in a messy way, I mean, that's kind of like you're signaling this guy's an idiot. I'm going to pay nothing for it and tell you your collection's trash, right? Like, I personally would have a hard time doing that with somebody I knew, but it's kind of like I was saying, we're in this culture right now, like on Facebook and all these things where people are giving away their Legos. So as far as when you're the store person and you're evaluating somebody's collection, you're like, I don't think he knows the value, or he or she does not know the value, and so I'm just gonna throw out a number, and it's gonna be really stupid low. Like, not great. It's not very ethical. It's not very transparent. You should be able to give a percentage of the market, the true market value, right? Which is also subjective, because on the video maybe there were scratches on like all of the figures, so maybe they just like, hey, even though there's a gold 3 CPO in here, it's just like $1,000 figure. I'm just gonna give them $100 and call it a day, and try to rip them off, because you don't know what you're really getting. Every time it's like loose, or even minifigs that are used, they kind of have to take a different approach. But again, so the community's already been, it hasn't been perfect, and now you're layering in this, you're uncovering all these like, hey, maybe the onion is kind of rotten here. That it looks really good. They do a lot of good things, but there's some problems within the core that are really rotten. And the franchise changeover and all the other circumstances really shed a lot of light on this. And I will say that I was really irritated. I've been trying to stay as partial as possible in this whole process. I obviously was just like way like, let's boycott, bricks and minifigs. And then at the same time, I appreciated ACOB's approach with bringing on, I think it's Matt, and then Ammon, I think his name. I forget his name. I should probably know that by now. But bringing on the executives, the CEO and the COO, bring on the executive team to get their side of it. And at first I was like, okay, some of what they were saying makes sense. But it's almost like Ben was dropping the videos at a perfect time, and I know that was behind a paywall, so a lot of people knew. I didn't watch part 2, but if you watch part 2 and then you hear the executives talk through their side of the story, there's a lot of holes and a lot of things that just do not add up. And my theory all along has been that there were definite issues. I don't know if the store was mismanaged. That's gonna have to be figured out. Like, I don't know. So I think poor Brian. I think there is a possibility that some portions of Bam and Brian were actually the victims here. I think there's a path to figure this out. I don't know what that looks like yet. We do know that Brian likely, very high probability, got screwed. I think 100% Brian got screwed in this. The question is who screwed him and how it all went down. And I think that's going to be a mystery. I don't know if we'll ever figure it out. I think there may be some people that are going to end up in jail, or something's going to happen, or we're going to have to really maybe maybe some of the lawsuits some of this will come out, but it's going to take some time. What I don't understand is like, while there was potentially some mismanagement, and I do think, who knows, maybe it was 1,000, could be 10,000, could be 20,000. It feels like there was a couple weeks or almost like a month worth of sales where Crystal had mentioned in the video that I've got to pay him out. I'm not going to know what to pay him out. And then, like, that portion seems really. We'll see how that all plays out, and you know, and it's possible that there was no money there to even pay out. So that's a whole nother thing. Like, what if it was mismanaged to a point where there was nothing that could be even paid out, right? So, like that's something I feel like corporate would want to cover up and really not shed light on. And I don't know, that again, some of that's going to have to really play out. The other piece is that Josh and Brandon, there's something there, where there's smoke. There's some serious smoke. It may even be flaming right now. I don't know what's going on with those two. Feels like there's a lot more to come. The lawsuits themselves could really, really shed a lot more light on what's going on there. When you see part two and then a lot of things, I mean, it is really frustrating as an observer to see the American Fork Police Department leaving out details and giving partial truths and not being fully above board. That's unbelievable to me. Then to have the CEO and the COO come on and not be above board and provide partial truths. They probably believe most of what they're saying and are standing behind it, but it's not what's actually happening. And my fear is that my sense is that there could be. I would not put it past people to fabricate evidence. And there's probably really hard way to some of it's going to be really hard to prove or disprove. So I think they've, I'm sure from their position, they're like, we may have some evidence here, or maybe we can make it appear one way and we can kind of win off of that appearance. And you look at kind of the shock approach that Ben does, and could that kind of sway, that could really in like either a jury or a judge trial you know could factor in. And then the fact that Ben doesn't seem, I'm sure he does behind the scenes have attorneys that are helping him, but at the same time he just starts yapping. Just getting himself in a, like, even though you're saying the right things, I just feel like these days law enforcement, unfortunately, in many cases, are not your friends, or really there to help. They're there to investigate and almost try to find crime sometimes, it feels like. I mean, if you are a detective, you are kind of pushing and trying to find the crime that may or may not have occurred. So I think they've got to be really careful. I mean, they kind of address that a little bit in the videos, but so I do think there's mystery with Josh and Brandon. There's mystery about, okay, how much damage. I mean, again, maybe the Gormans ran the store perfectly, and corporate's just saying, she's totally inept, right? Possible. I mean, they may not be wrong. They may be half right. Maybe she was inept in some areas, or maybe there were things that they did to her that made her appear inept. So these are things that are going to have to play out in court, I think. And so all sides are basically suing each other. So we're not going to get much information anytime soon. We're gonna have years of content, unfortunately. And I don't know if Bricks and Minifigs is going to be able to survive, which is, I really think they have a window to figure this out and not be litigating, and everybody can drop their lawsuits. Like, cut some dollars here, cut some dollars here. Just suck it up and tell people, like, hey, unfortunately, this this something we still believe in our positions, but we definitely made some mistakes. We've made it right, and we've changed some of our stances and our policies, and we've made improvements. And thank you to our franchises. Now, we're doing kind of like a celebrate the brick and Lego International Day. We're gonna like give 10% off to all of our customers as a thank you for sticking with us. Like whatever you need to do, just like turn this into a positive. Like I still feel like the window is there because I think one of the things that's important to realize is that there are 300 bricks and minifigs. They are valued in their communities, and the franchisees owners are great people. Again, I don't know everybody, right? I'm just assuming most of them are great people, right? And so if corporate can kind of get out of their way, just get out of the way, and they can turn it so that the individual localized bricks and minifigs can say all's back to normal, guys, and everything's great. Like let the floodgates and all your money that you boycotted, bring it on back. Literally, that could help the next generation. I mean, look at all the companies. Some don't. I feel like are never the same when they have these scandals. Like look at Papa John's. I don't know. I haven't been to a Papa John's forever. Domino's took over. Or like Subway. Has anybody been going to Subway lately? I don't know. Like the whole Jared thing. Like whoops. I mean, how many snafus is McDonald's seems to be able to always overcome? Hot coffee, anyone? you know, like companies can survive, and some of that is because McDonald's has got corporate and franchises. Franchises are way more vulnerable to branding issues. There's been some really big bloopers out there in the franchise world, but I still feel the Lego community does care. Obviously, we care, and there's a lot of non-Lego people that care. It's just like there's a chance here. You could really feel it, and that's what I appreciate about ACOB when he brought in. He was trying to be Switzerland, trying to help. We're all, I think all of us really want to help. Like, and I think a lot of people can relate to these companies, or maybe not even a big company. Like it doesn't have to be a big company that are evil. It could be like another LLC, right? Like I've been screwed in my life. I've been scammed multiple times in my life. So I feel like we all feel like we're Brian. So maybe the title of this is I Am Brian. you know, because we all feel like we're Brian. We want to get back in that. We want to get back in there and go shop at our bricks and minifig stores. We all do. We really do. Like every time I'm on the stream with people or whatever talking around, everybody wants this to get resolved. We all want to be Brian. So it does feel, I mean, Ben, you could just tell, if you really look at the video, I mean, yes, he is like a shock journalist style, but like it's hard not to believe that he feels like he is Brian. He is helping Brian. We all want Brian to just to move on. I mean, that's the craziest part of the story is that like it's not just somebody with a lot of money, with a pile of money, and then they lost a chunk. Bad business deal, right? People that bad business deals happen every day. But this story is just so unique and just so like riveting, and it sucks you in. And it's just, to me, it feels like it's touched on something that I cannot believe bricks and mini figure figs how crazy and corrupt, and now after seeing them try to defend their position publicly and to see what's still going on. Again, I'm my opinion. There maybe I don't have all the facts. I'm like the first one to tell you I don't have all the facts. So it's really hard to know what my opinion fully is. but it just feels like it's really hard for an observer with the receipts on both sides to say one side isn't really in the like completely wrong here, and it needs to get rectified, because at the end of the day we don't care what the details are. We care that Brian gets his Lego back. That's it. It's pretty much that, full stop, brick by brick. Say whatever you want to say, but get Brian his Lego back, or the basically the value. I have to imagine, because I think the world would turn against Brian if they offered him between 50 and 70K cash and just said, "Here you go. Here's your 50, 60K cash to go, pay for the things that you were looking to pay for." Because I mean, everybody knows he was getting paid out as he goes, and they're not going to be able to account for every single set. This just is a disaster. It's a fiasco. It's a disaster. Bricks and Minifigs knows it's a disaster. They should have acknowledged it, but now they can't, because now they're in court. So it really sucks. That like makes it difficult. So anyways, like, you could just resolve it. Everybody drops it. I don't know if I don't know if what kind of video that Reckless Ben would make. Would he make like a thanks to, maybe they would do a tour, celebrate and raise money for the franchisees and all the damage they've done, but it has to get resolved. I think at the end of the day, it has to get resolved. This can become a win. So I don't think anybody from Bricks and Minifigs will see this video, but if they do, it just has to get resolved. It's just that simple. Very, very simple. And then the entire community can re-embrace, and maybe the company lives on to bigger, brighter, and even more franchises. I mean, if I had the money, I would think about doing a Bricks and Minifigs store. I think that's part of what's really annoying about this whole thing, is that like the new stores have been popping up. I'm like, if I ever it could be a phenomenal, it'd be phenomenal to because of the love of the brick that we all have, to actually get a living off of your hobby is amazing. Like, I just became 2 years ago now, I became a pickleball coach to essentially support my hobby, and also for personal development, pay for my hobby, all those types of things. Maybe it'll lead to like more of a career. Certainly not anytime in the near future. And I only do that once at night during a week, and I keep it very, very limited to not interfere with my time. So certainly, like, hopefully, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that'd be like, I would love to have, like, for this to be, but how would anybody want to enter into a franchisee with these guys, where they're just like, my way or the highway, and have you locked in, and these franchise agreements are just so restricting? No way. I feel like now a lot of these independent resale places or whatnot, all the different resellers that are out there, this whole culture really could benefit from it. So maybe it'll be like a new culture of some independent stores, or maybe it'll be just like maybe a chain where it's just all corporate stores instead of franchisees, so it's not as restricting will happen. So I don't know. You never know how this will all play out. So thank you so much for watching. I can hear the music rolling. I think that's all I have to cover on this one. It's the old Bricks and Minifigs. This is my only cup that I have. I got some free brick. I have patronized them in the past. I've bought at least a couple minifigures from Bricks and Minifigs. Again, I literally was planning on hitting all the stores. I'm just so excited about it in a couple weeks, and now I just don't think I can stomach it. I don't. There are a couple other independent places I can go to, but man, it's just really a bummer. Really not happy about that. I mean, I finally have one opened up like 20 minutes away, so it's not too bad. And then there's another one in Schaumburg, and then I think there's another one not too far. But there's like three. I used to not go to them because they were just too far away. It was like a good 35, 40, almost like an hour away. That's just, it's a lot of gas money to go for. I mean, if I was really, really hunting for a set, for sets and stuff, their bulk Lego is eh, kind of hit and miss. So, I mean, if I was in the market for some good minifigs, but I'm not driving an hour to, I don't know, maybe it's just me. But anyways, thank you again for listening. I'm love to get your commentary on it, how this thing unfolds. I'll keep putting my thoughts out there on this one. This is definitely a really, really intriguing fiasco that's happening in the Lego community, the scandal that's rocking the community. So with that, thank you so much for joining Journal Entry, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.